Hi, everybody. This is Julissa. Thank you so much for being here. It is May 11, 2023. I had to come here and speak about this story, everyone. Here we are again. What a year so far. What a year because we have seen one of the most weird cases come out in the face of humanity in society, I guess you can say. It's really terrifying to see so many of these cases since the beginning of the year, and I'm referring to, of course, the Anna Walsh case and the mom Lindsay Clancy who took the lives of her children. So many strange cases, and before, if you don't remember, like years past, we hear cases like that maybe like once a year, and it was so rare to hear so devastating cases. But I don't, this year is like since it began, one case after the other, and a lot of these cases had to deal with domestic violence, and on both sides, wife or the husband. And it's so crazy because I'm not married. I pray for my husband even though I don't know who he is, right? And I look forward to those days where I'm like, married with children and, being a wife and doing things for my husband, cooking for him, things like that, right? And I pray for that in my life. And I'm waiting on the Lord, of course. But to see cases like this is really scary, not because, um, I don't, my whole point is this. How do you go? I don't understand. How do you go from saying you are the love of my life to just completely turning around and starting slowly poisoning your husband? And not only that, you're gonna do that, right? And that's what this woman who I'm gonna speak about today, that's what she did, right? Not only you're gonna do that, but you're gonna use that story of your husband passing after you poison him and make a book about it to monetize his story that you caused to take his life away. And then you want to get sympathy out of that from strangers, right? um and it's just crazy to me. Like, I don't know what people are thinking these days. And every day, I tell you, every day, I was thinking about it today, I give thanks to my family. One of the best gifts I ever received in my life is to be instructed at a very early age in the path of the Lord. When I say that, I mean being able to attend church, participate in church events, from vacation Bible schools to, church plays during Christmas, and volunteer with the church and like choir, singing, acting, anything that we can get our hands into, help some way, serving in the church since I was a very young, at a very early age. I am so thankful now, looking at it as an adult now, and seeing that I'm still, doing, in the church, participating. I am so thankful for that. That's definitely one of the best gifts that my family ever given to me. And even the days, I remember in the Dominican Republic, the days when I'm like, oh man, Sunday, I don't want to get up and go to church, being like 7 years old, 8 years old. But, I am so thankful that my family was um, so not strict, but like, we are going to church. That's what we do on Sundays. And looking at it back now, like I said, I'm so thankful for that because that stays with the child, it stays with the person year after year. They might, perhaps, you hear people's testimonies and they go back and forth. I drifted from the church, but I'm so thankful to be back and things like that. It is the best decision you can give to a child when they're growing up, to instruct them in the path of the Lord. I am so thankful every day for that. So I'm bringing that comment about the church because I don't know how people think that they're living a normal life. Oh yeah, go to school, graduate, go to college, graduate, get a good job, and start rising up in the corporate ladder, and then you're just gonna poison your husband. Like, I don't understand how the story can turn so bad so quick like that. And we all know the enemy is out there trying to see who he can devour. But when you don't have Christ's foundation on you, you're weak. It's almost like you have no shield, no guard, and you are so vulnerable to the attacks of the enemy. I'm not saying by any means that we as Christians don't get attacked also, and a lot of the times we fall and we make mistakes, but all I'm saying is scary, terrifying out there. And like I said, I'm not married, and I don't know how somebody can lay in bed with somebody and have kids, and then, it's almost like the Chris Watts story in Shannon Watts from Colorado. How do you go from thinking about having a divorce one night and the next night you're just killing your whole family? Like, I will never understand that. I don't understand that. And I just see the worst of the enemy. Here he is presenting somebody at his workplace. That's what happened to Chris Watts. Here comes, the temptation at the workplace. And then, the wife is leaving him alone for 6 weeks, and he's enjoying the single life again. And the mind is one thing. It's crazy. The mind is like, you're gonna come back to reality now. Everybody's coming back home, and you're gonna be a father again, and you have one baby on the way. It's so crazy, and we can go on and on talking about this, but it's getting so scary out there. I really don't know how marriages deal with right now if they don't have Jesus as the center of the relationship. Like for me, as I'm looking, waiting on the Lord, I'm like, I have, there is no way I'm gonna get together with somebody who I have to convince to go to church. Like that's not gonna happen. Like, there is no way I'm going to get with somebody who I have to convince. If you have to convince somebody to do the works of the Lord, then that is not the person for you, especially somebody who grew up in the church like myself, somebody who wants to glorify God with my gifts and talents, somebody who I just want to obey the Lord. Like, that's all I'm looking forward to do every day of my life. I'm not saying that I do everything correctly and everything that God asks me to do, I do. I'm not saying that, but I strive on a daily basis as a human being, trying to live this life to glorify the Lord with everything that I have and to obey His will for my life and just hear the voice of the Lord. So to see stories like this about this Utah author of the children's book, she wrote a children's book for grief after she murdered her own husband. And this is so crazy because it was discovered after she published a book and went on book tours and spoke about this book and how loving the husband was, and then people find out that she actually killed him. And years ago, I think it was Dateline or something, years ago I learned about a story how people are so like craving attention and sympathy from others that they're willing to hurt themselves, just to get that type of attention. And people who make up fake cancer diagnosis just so that they can get, people do everything for them. Like that must be once one thing is to lie. You say a lie, right? I always say this thing. When you lie and you take it so like lightly, but when you lie to your own self, that's a whole nother level of evilness. And it's just like psychotic. And I don't even know how to, when you're lying to yourself, that lie that you told everybody, you're believing so truly, even though it's not true. That's some deep stuff right there. I don't know how else to put it. Like, that's when you have to just surrender to God and be like, take over, Lord. I can't, it's just really bad. This person, um she was poisoning her husband, and then he passed away, and then she made a whole book about it, and she was being acclimated for such a beautiful book, and she went along with the whole thing. Like, are you kidding me, man? How do people sleep at night I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how you, like, that's what I'm saying. You lie to yourself and you're so proud of it. It's, the duping the lie. Like, oh, everybody's believing everything that I'm saying. I'm so proud of myself. Like, people have no fear of the Lord, it seems. Like, one day you're gonna be face to face with your creator and you're gonna have to answer. And you think that people, just because people don't discover stuff about you, like you're good to go. Like, one day you're gonna answer everything that you did in this life. Let me, by even saying that myself, I still feel convicted about some stuff that I done too. And I'm like, okay. So God is also speaking to me as I'm speaking to you guys. That's how he works, right? So let me just read to you guys this subject. It says here, you, the author of children's book on grief, charged with murdering her husband. Her name is Kouri Richins, allegedly poisoned her husband and the father of her three children, Eric, with fentanyl slipped into a drink. Um, a youth woman who recently published a children's book on losing a parent has been charged with murdering her husband, the father of her three children, and this happened in Kamas, Utah. Excuse me, Kamas, Utah. Her name is Kouri Richins, 33 years old. Um, it says here, Eric Richins with she poisoned her husband, Eric Richins, with a little dose of the fentanyl slipped into a drink, according to authorities. Eric had 5 times the lethal dosage of fentanyl in his body when he died on March 4th, 2022. He died last year. Investigators have said that Kouri was arrested on Monday, right? This past Monday, was arrested on Monday at her home on counts of murder as well as possession of a controlled substance with the intent to distribute it. She could face life imprisonment of the death or the death penalty if eventually convicted of murder. Court record shows that Eric had told friends and family. This is the hardest part because one thing man, when you just have that feeling is your own soul telling you. It's almost like God is telling you also that watch out, this is a red flag. Court record shows that Eric had told friends and family before his death that he believed his wife was trying to poison him. On Valentine's Day, a few weeks before his death, Eric became violently ill after having dinner with Kouri, breaking out in hives and having trouble breathing until he used his son EpiPen and took Benadryl. Corey allegedly bought $900 worth of fentanyl pills before this dinner, and she would later buy 900 more pills before his death. He warned them if anything happened to me, she was to blame. He told the family, like he told the family that. That's one thing. Like, let me tell you something, guys. I don't know what it is, but when people are ready to do something, they usually announce it some way or the other. Okay? We have seen case after case. Look at, if you like, you have free time or something, look at some of the most notorious crime cases, right? You tend to see a pattern. I'm always looking at patterns, right? People usually tell you, okay? People usually tell you stuff before they do it, some way or the other. I mentioned before the Chris Watts case. Like weeks before, he sent a photo of a doll laying with the sheet over her head to the wife, and like 2 days after he killed her or something like that, right? There, he's like, "This is what's in my mind." Of course, they're not gonna come out and say it to you. Okay, they're not gonna come out and say it to you, but look at, sometimes people say stuff without even speaking. Okay, there's so many ways to communicate now these days, right? A message that's never answered, that's an answer. Okay, ignored calls are also an answer, because somebody wants to really if somebody cares for you, they'll be like, I'm so sorry I missed your call. I'm so sorry I never texted back because I fell asleep. But when people just let it be, that's an answer, that you got to look at red flags too, okay? When this man is saying to his friends and family, one thing is you need to understand, a family of three, right? They have three kids, and you're gonna get together with some of your friends and family and say, hey, if anything happened to me, she killed me. And it's not joking, because I seen husband joke like that, you know. I seen them joking. It's a big joke. Everybody laugh. Oh yeah, your wife is trying to kill you. Ha ha ha. Very funny. Why would he go and say that to his friends and family? That's because he already knows that something is up, okay? And it's so crazy. Like, man, I look the day. It's so crazy. I look forward to the days when I'm cooking for my husband, because I love to cook, right? And just to like learn his favorite meals and things like that. And this is what I'm saying. Like, then you have other wife who that's what they're looking forward to killing their husband. That is crazy, guys. And that's just the enemy attacking marriages. Okay, like I said, beginning of the year, we have seen so many domestic violence cases. Is so insane. And it's not, a lot of the times in the past, it used to be just the husband, but now it's coming both ways, right? So Eric said to his friends and family, hey, if anything happens to me, she's the one to blame. Anna Walsh in 2014 called the police, and she said, my husband just, my boyfriend back then, right, Brian Walsh, was trying to kill me and her friends. What happened? Fast forward to a few years after, he eventually did, or Google search everything how to do it. And that's what I'm saying. People are always telling you something, everybody. They're telling you. People tend to do this thing. People will say it before they do it. I don't know what that is. It's something that we, I guess, do as a natural thing. Human thing that we do. We tend to do it before. Even like when you're messaging back and forth with your friend, you'll be like, I think I'm just gonna go to Walmart today or something, right? And then like an hour after, they're sending you for, look what I found at Walmart. It's like we tend to just do that. It's almost like automatically. And a very random thing is that going out shopping or something. But when people, like I said, Eric must have seen what is the last name? Eric Richins must have seen a lot of red flags coming from the wife for him to already take that thought, because one is like, man, we're married with three kids. She will never do that. Like, this is the love of my life. We're married with three kids. But for him to say that already to somebody else, it's like he's deep down inside, he had already a conviction, it's almost like an assurance that this could actually happen to him. And look what happened to him, right? Let me just continue reading here. Kouri unsuccessfully tried to remove Rai from the policy and make herself her husband beneficiary. So she started changing the life insurance, right? Warrants obtained by investigators on the case allege that the couple have argued over purchasing a $2 million home that Kouri wanted to remodel, but Eric thought it was too expensive. Here is the wife again. That's the thing, man. Like, that's the thing. As strong as I can be, like I already told you guys, I'm not married, nothing like that. As long as I can be independent, having my own business and doing my own thing, basically, I'm so looking forward to the days where I'll have my husband, when I get married, right? When I meet him, get married eventually, make decisions like that. Like, there's an order in the Bible, right? The husband, the head of the house. Like, he will make decisions like that. We have to be so crazy because we women, we go a lot based on emotions. So here she's trying to buy a $2 million home, and I understand this message. This whole episode is not gonna resonate with a lot of people in this society these days. It's just like, you know, have you seen those marriages, guys? You seen those marriages that the husband cannot even order his own food at the restaurant? Like, are you kidding me? The head of your household doesn't even have an authority to order his own food at the restaurant. Like, what is happening to society these days? You know, that this man can sit at a restaurant with his whole family and friends and family, and he has to eat what the wife tells him to eat because she's trying to watch his diet. Like, one thing is to keep trying to like help somebody with weight issues or whatever, right? But when you're like trying to manipulate that person to even watch what they're eating in public, and not only in private, but you take it out in public and you're like, you're not eating that, that will be like, it's so uncomfortable to witness something like that. Imagine you feeling uncomfortable just to see. Imagine the person on the other end, the husband at home, and I hear a lot of women, especially women who are married, saying things like, he doesn't know anything, he's such a loser, he forgot this thing. Like, the words that they're saying to their husbands are crazy. I don't understand what women are doing these days. Like, ugh, God forbid, I tell you. So she wanted to buy a $2 million home. He said that's too much money. And she basically, it began somewhere, right? The thoughts, right? It's almost like the Chris was. I keep going back to him because this man thought that he's going to disappear his whole family and go back and live with his girlfriend, right? It's almost like, oh yeah, no, now you're in my way of the things that I want to do. So this author thought that she could kill the husband, poison the husband, Eric, poison him, right? Make a book, sell a lot of books, get sympathy from people, and then buy her $2 million home, and everything will be fandy dandy, and welcome to La La La. Everything is happy daddy, and you're such a great woman to write a book like that. That is so crazy. Like, I don't. People are delusional these days. People think that nobody sees what they're doing. Like I said, Judgment Day is coming, and this autopsy on him revealed that she actually poisoned him, and now she's in jail. And the sad thing about this whole thing is not only that he was lied to, and this man, Eric, eating the food that his wife made for him. This is so sad, if you think about it. When you cook for somebody, like, I love cooking. I don't host a lot of people, I don't have that many friends, but when I used to cook a lot, when I used to be with my family, I would love, and I'm one of those people that if you're in my house and I'm cooking, like, it's like a restaurant. I'll custom make whatever you want because I want you to be happy, right? If you're a guest in my home, I want you to be happy. And if you like your meat a different way, I'm gonna make it how you like it. That's how my mom used to be too. Like, when she will cook for people. Like, these days now you go to people's home and they're like, oh, we don't have that. I'm sorry, you're allergic to that. That's all we have. And it's like, you invite, like, I don't understand. Also, like, some people invite you to their home and then you have such a bad time with them because they don't really care anymore. It's so crazy these days. It's just laughable at times. So I will be making sure, if somebody only likes fish, I'll make sure, I remember my mom will just buy like salmon for some of my family members because they don't eat meat. And then she'll make this meat for them. And it will be like, okay, now we finished their food. Now we cook for the other people who like this type of food. Because when you have people over your house, you have to welcome them, right? Make them feel comfortable. And, do the best because you're hosting, they're a guest in your home. That's old fashioned way, but I hope that never, fades away because that's the value of life, right? Why would you do anything else? But here we are. Here comes this lady, right? She she's cooking meals for her husband, and with her fake smile, you know, around her kids and her husband, thinking to her, pretending to be such a beautiful, wonderful wife, she's actually making his favorite meal, probably to just poison him and kill him eventually. What a wicked man. What a wicked man. And that's just the works of the enemy, guys. Um, Let me see what else I have here. On March 5th of 2023, almost exactly a year after Eric's death, Kouri published a book titled Are You With Me? Okay. Which, according to the book description, is written to create peace and comfort from the children to have loved a loved one. Isn't she lovely, right? She promoted the book in an interview on television on April 12th, telling the radio station, "It has been a long year, a difficult year, and writing this book has brought me peace to me and my boys. People are living the imposter life. Like, you're lying to yourself, man, and you think nobody sees it. And what are we have, there's a verse in the Bible that says everything you do in the dark will come to light. You're not fooling anybody. You can think to yourself in the moment you're fooling anybody, right? You're fooling somebody, but you're not only you're lying to yourself, but the creator of the universe, your creator, sees you. And you're not gonna fool him. Nothing escapes God. And look at where we are right now. She is in jail. The sad thing, like what I was saying before, is that it's always the kids that suffer the most because now they don't have their dad and now they don't have their mom, right? And then they're gonna grow up and they're gonna learn eventually what happened. And it's so sad. This woman, she went out and promoted this book, and then they found out she actually poisoned her husband. And what an evidence it is to have. That's the thing. When you feel like somebody could do something, when people say, I think so and so can actually, kill me or something, they take that seriously, guys. When it's a joke, we know when it's a joke, everybody's laughing. You see the person and they're joking, and they don't have any issue, they don't have any problems going on, right? Close friends will joke things like that. But when you see somebody who is concerned and say, if something happens to me, so and so didn't take that seriously because they already know for sure. That's why they're willing to say it to somebody else, okay? So Kouri Richins, living the imposter life, got caught up, and now she's facing life in jail. And then speaking of the imposter life, people are living just, see how much I can say into, like, people believe me. George Santos, I think his name is, the one who fakes so many stuff. Yes, George Santos. Um, it says here I think he got officially charged today. So we all know that he's also another pretend B. We years back, the whole term "fake it till you make it," "fake it till you make it," they forgot to tell you, you will, the "fake it till you make it" can only get you through the door sometimes. Eventually people will find out who you are, and you're not fooling anybody. And like I said before, you guys, one thing is to lie, but when you're lying to yourself and believing it, that is just some wicked mind right there. But pray for the family of Eric Richins, the kids, and I hope and I pray to also to God about Kouri Richins, that she comes, to the feet of the Lord, because it's what she did is just so hard and so part of the kingdom of darkness. I don't know. There's no other way to describe it. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back and listening to my podcast. I appreciate so much you coming here. Thank you so much. You can also follow me on the YouTube channel, JulissaDesigns, and also on Facebook, on Instagram, and I'm basically everywhere. I was going to say TikTok, Twitter, all of this stuff. You guys know JulissaDesigns. God bless everybody.